Have you ever wondered how Wolverine would be old and one could say nerfed? I guess Old Man Logan, the storyline and alternate reality version, could give you an idea of that. How he's nerfed but can still take on waves and waves of villains, thanks to his healing factor, which is still there but nerfed, which you're going to see in this video, and put that together with his fighting speed and battle IQ experience. He can still take on mobs. He's a being, even while old, can still survive long falls off of skyscrapers. He's a guy constantly getting barraged with gunfire and can still power through it and fight back. He's a being that can go days without food or water because that means nothing to him. I mean, we're talking about a guy whose leg was burnt off because of Fing Fang Foom's acid. That doesn't seem to matter because his legs are back. Regeneration. Let's analyze this Wolverine, shall we? They said it best here on what this is: surviving a future known as the Wastelands, where everything good in the world, including his family, was destroyed. Old Man Logan awoke in the present. This is part of the reason why you're going to see him interact with canon characters and stuff. He wants to prevent this catastrophic reality to ever come into pass. You know, stuff like that. One of the many adventures he goes on. Like, he had a rough life. Yeah, the bad guys kind of won in this reality. He ended up getting a family. He ended up getting kids, and then they ended up getting murked. And that's when Wolverine kind of jumped back into the murking status. After he got his revenge on this reality version of Hulk, of course, and the Hulk gang, yeah. And a funny fact about Old Man Logan version of Wolverine is that he actually been macking with the Earth goddess Gaia in this different version of Logan, pulled her, like, wow. Like, isn't that funny? Like, he macking with the Earth goddess Gaia? Like, yeah, baby, on the way. Like, what? I usually hate doing alternate reality versions of characters, but since I love Wolverine and since Wolverine is a popular character, I said, okay, I'll make an exception for this one. And I said, for the sake of this particular occasion, why not? Let's get it. Alternate Earth, a possible future Earth, maybe the possible canon timeline can end up like this to some degree, maybe. He has a lot of similar history, similar to the main timeline canon stuff, like, and being involved with the X-Men and things of that such. Like, today, we're going to analyze them, but, like, they just give you a rundown here. He's 300 pounds thanks to his adamantium skeleton, 195 without it. Think about it, a 195-pound character that's 5'3". I mean, that's freaking buff. I mean, you know he's more dense than your average person. When thugs punch him, they say it's like hitting a brick wall. Simply punching him in the face or hitting him hurts people. I mean, he does have a metal skull, so it makes sense. He has the same abilities like we know the normal Wolverine has: insane regeneration, being able to regenerate from injuries. He's virtually immune to poisons. His healing factor enhances endurance and slows down aging. And he has the famous adamantium claws that allow him to hurt top tiers despite his muscles not being up there with theirs. Like, powerhouses like Man-Thing, for example, are physically way too strong for somebody like Logan when it comes to pure physicals. As you can see in straight muscle power, he's not a match for these beings. But when it comes to beings in this tier, he can harm them thanks to his overpowered claws. You get the idea? Like, you got occasions like this of Weapon H, a Hulk Wolverine hybrid character, basically can pretty much restrain him underwater and he can't move. Shows, like, yeah, he does lack the physical strength, but his claws is what's the equalizer. And how Old Man Logan, despite this strength disadvantage, can still cut beings in this tier. Despite the muscle difference and raw physicals being vast, he can still cut them. It just lets you know how broken adamantium is, to where your muscles being this much weaker than somebody, but it can bridge the gap to where you still can damage them. The thing about adamantium, pretty much the only thing that can counter his adamantium is, you know, his adamantium claws, his adamantium armor, of course. I mean, I would say it's his claws mixed with his other factors. Like, the claws kind of help his skeleton have more durability because his skull is harder because of the metal, and his healing factor also plays a factor on how he's able to hang with top tiers like this. But there's occasions when his healing factor is actually not working as well, and he kind of gets overwhelmed by their might. So he kind of needs his healing factor to be acting right when he fights these top tiers like this. He literally had to take a drug known as Regenix to kind of give him a boost or an adrenaline boost and things of that such. I mean, it's even stated here, without this little drug to help his healing factor kick in, he wouldn't stand a chance against the Hulk. So it lets you know this healing factor helps him be able to endure hits from beings he normally wouldn't be able to withstand hits from. So it's a crucial aspect. He's an exceptional hand-to-hand combatant in many fighting styles, expert with various weapons. He is an insane fighter, being a maxed out 7 out of 7. Even though I don't really take these as Bible, it's good to see this type of stuff. Based on the Marvel ratings, being a 7 means you are master of all forms of combat. Wolverine is. Occasions like this kind of prove his hand-to-hand skills, like in this occasion with Star-Lord. Like, it seems like this is like easy to him, dodging these attacks and parrying them, implying fighting ability or skills in general. Star-Lord isn't a weakling when it comes to hand-to-hand. We can see him handling his own against mobs here, for example. I mean, he's good at improvise when it comes to his fighting skills because on top of his claws, he can improvise and use shields like Captain America's shield here, for example, to block a sword attack and use it lethally. Like, that's his fighting skills. They wasn't exaggerating when they said Wolverine can freaking fight. I know you see him using his claws a lot, but this guy can freaking fight. You guys already know the history of the canon 616 Wolverine of surviving crazy things like literally being a skeleton, for example. He can recover full organs, things of that such. The crazy thing about him, he seems to not be in his prime. And the crazy part is he's still going to do some decently impressive stuff in this video. They even go as far as stating he's not healing as fast as he used to, so he's not in his absolute peak prime physical condition. Not like it used to be, they state. Again, saying he's old and slow implied to not be as fast as he used to be. He makes mistakes that he usually wouldn't make, walking into traps. Arrows are poison, healing factor working, but extremely slow compared to the way it used to, confirmed here. That's just too many occasions of them stating or showing that his healing factor is not what it used to be. Older and weaker, they say. Even fighting classic foes, they even state you're old. Not even half the man you once was. Talking about his healing factor slower than molasses. I guess one could say these indestructible claws that helped him fight top tiers is a double-edged sword, and I guess has a price. More confirmation talking about how the healing factor is giving him trouble. Stuff that would usually take minutes to heal, it takes hours to heal. Stuff of that such, and how his eye in this particular occasion isn't healing at all. It was so bad he had to even take like outside medicine, adrenaline type stuff. It's this thing called Regenix, working its way through his body, kicking his healing factor into overdrive. But of course, yet it has a price, yet again, what it does to his body. It does stuff like hyping up his adrenaline and stuff like that. Yeah, he's far past his prime. For him to even need stuff like this, he normally wouldn't. Despite his healing factor being slowed down, it still takes a lot of tranquilizer to put him down, enough to even drop a rhino, even though his healing factor is nerfed. It still takes this much to take him down. So his healing factor ain't that darn slow. Despite his healing factor being nerfed, it's stated here that his healing factor is still considered extreme, and his adamantium claws are lethal, of course. I mean, this version of Wolverine had it rough, and it gets worse. There was a point where he actually lacked adamantium in one hand and had adamantium in one other hand. So he had bones in one arm and then steel in the other. Because on one of his many adventures, he actually lost a hand. Yikes. Cutting through the adamantium itself. Luckily for him, just because you cut his adamantium off, I mean, he may not be able to regrow the adamantium back, but he can still grow his bones back. You know, he always had the claws, even without adamantium. Sure, his claws help him be able to hang with top tiers, but when it comes to his raw muscle strength, he's still pretty freaking strong without spamming the claws all the time. His muscles, even at an old age, he's pretty freaking strong. Like in this occasion, you can see him pinned down by these men here, and he's strong enough to get loose despite them teaming up on him. He can actually lift up a man over his head with one arm. This is not as easy as you think, but he makes this junk look easy. He's chained up here. This chair, he actually just rips out with muscle strength without using his claws. Like with some props, of course, in this occasion, he helped get this vehicle just right. Pretty much showing he still has super soldier eccentric type strength, still able to flip a vehicle over, easily strong enough to break a cop's arm. He can carry grown men on his back like it ain't no big deal, even getting dogpiled by this many, and still can push them all off. This kind of physical stuff kind of makes sense with Old Man Logan, because Canon Wolverine Young can do stuff like this, the metal doors. Young him battling one of his many villains, Omega Red, throw him so hard it dents the metal bars here, snapping metal chains. It lets you know how strong he is in his prime, because he snapped chains when he was younger, you know, alternate reality, of course. He snapped shackles forged from the hardest steel money can buy, guaranteed unbreakable, yet Wolverine never yields. And like, there's a gazillion occasions of him snapping metal with brute strength while he was younger in the alternate reality version of Wolverine. So when you get an idea of what the main universe Wolverine can do, maybe you can get an idea of what Old Man Logan can do, but toned down a bit, because he's nerfed kind of. I mean, we're talking about a Wolverine that can dash into somebody and like pretty much total a house. Bending steel. Breaking handcuffs is a common theme. Breaking through doors. Breaking through these restraints. Yeah, he doesn't like doors. So Old Man Logan doing similar stuff like this, it's not like this kind of stuff is anything new, right? I mean, he's physically strong enough without using his claws. Like, I know all Gamma members aren't created equal. Every single one of them aren't as strong as the man, the myth, the legend, the Hulk himself. But it's impressive when you see him face lower tier Hulkish type of beings. You can see in this entire panel right here against this Hulkling that's super freaking strong, using chains, Logan is strong enough to use the environment to his advantage. One can say this is battle IQ. He's strong enough to do this to the neck of one of the many Gamma-powered beings, a lower tier Gamma-powered being, of course, with his raw strength. So his muscles themselves are still pretty decently strong, even though he's nerfed compared to his prime. Naturally, when he has all this muscle, it's pretty much proven that he can punch really hard. You know, he's a trained fighter. He has to know how to punch really hard, right? We've seen him knock out men with just a briefcase in his hand. Red Skull soldiers, he just knocks out with kicks and punches. When he kicks somebody, they go a decent distance after the kick to show his kicking strength. You can get an idea of his leg strength just from how high he can freaking jump, despite the Sentinels being tall. He jumps really high. It's this occasion when he ran on his bus, for example, he kind of jumped pretty high to get to this helicopter, of course. So it lets you know how strong he is, his leg strength in general. He's jumping this high and he's 300 pounds because of adamantium weight. Metal doors he can kick down. Kraven the Hunter is somebody that at least have super soldier-esque type strength and is always giving Spider-Man issues to some degree in their battles. Somebody that's way past super soldier strength level. Like Spider-Man's way above super soldiers when it comes to physicals. Old Man Logan, part of this is thanks to his claws being in the equation, pretty much handles Kraven the Hunter himself. We've actually seen Wolverine getting entanglements even while old with Spider-Man characters. Like in this example, Miles Morales. Not the Peter Parker Spider-Man, a different one. Getting a little entanglement with such beings, cutting web, the standard stuff. There was somebody else that's also at least a super soldier. You know, Bullseye as well, somebody that's his rival. Bullseye is somebody that's always giving Elektra and Daredevil issues. In this occasion, we don't really even see Wolverine have to really pull out his claws against Bullseye, just straight sticking him with blunt fist here. They have a little scuffle outside the car. Then he pulls out. Straight hands. He knows that you got to stay close distance to Bullseye and keep the fight close quarters, knocking him out. To show that Wolverine still got it. Sleepy. Like he's literally sleeping in Wolverine's arms. Like in this occasion, he's dang near blind. He still can fight characters that be giving Daredevil issues like Bullseye. When it comes to being a fighter, your striking speed can help your power. And we know Wolverine's a trained fighter when we're talking about his raw fighting speed or combat speed in general. Like there's people that disrespect him and try to say he's not fast, like Psylocke, somebody that's really strong, for example. They try to roast him, but nah, he still can tag her still. Like in this occasion, look at the distance between him and the guards. He literally speed blitzes them. Wolverine literally complimented Weapon H's speed, saying he's getting faster. But Wolverine was cocky enough to still say not as fast as he is. Imagine aiming a gun at him. He's fast enough to stab you before you can shoot. That's fighting speed, guys. He has battle IQ with his fighting speed as well, throwing a table in the way to distract you to kind of help get the jump on you if needed. Pointing a taser at him fast enough to cut off your arm before you can shoot the taser. That's fighting speed, guys. Imagine sitting down, relaxing. Y'all think y'all got to jump on him. Y'all pretty much get speed blitzed. I honestly believe if a whole bunch of people were shooting at Old Man Logan, he would have the combat speed similar to this scene right here. He'd be able to deflect bullets like this with his claws because of his fighting speed. Not to mention, this is light work when it comes to Marvel speed. They always do stuff like this, and especially the Marvel super soldiers or higher. I mean, a great way to understand Old Man Logan's fighting speed is the fact he's always scrapping out with Deadpool. And their fighting speed seems to be pretty similar. For the most part, being able to react to one another. This is important because Deadpool is fast enough to react to bullets that are mid-flight and even cut them in half. This kind of stuff happens consistently in Marvel comics when it comes to super soldier or above tiers. So just like how Deadpool can do stuff like this when it comes to fighting speed, when it comes to cutting bullets in half, Wolverine and Old Man State can do this as well, proving that their hands and fighting speeds can outspeed flying bullets. I guess having these overpowered claws has its advantages, because if you try to snipe him in the skull, it would just technically not go through his skull because his skull is metal adamantium. His whole skeleton's like that. Kind of a waste to shoot him right there. Like, you can literally break your sword on his forearm because underneath his meat of his forearm is, adamantium, of course. Doing this to him when you finally do pierce him isn't a guarantee because, he does have that healing factor after all. Let's talk about these busted claws. For the most part, when it comes to his muscles, he has to be at least a super soldier. One can say slightly above super soldiers. Like, Captain America has his opinions about Wolverine. Don't ask. Captain America was made his own tier list and stuff based on all the different opponents he's fought. He's talking about the 616 Wolverine here, but this should technically apply for this alternate reality, possible future version of Wolverine as well. Captain America talks about his opponents. He talks about Wolverine as one of the beings in this category, has augmented strength and highly skilled. This group of guys not only have superhuman strength, they know how to use it to the fullest advantages. These opponents were the all-around toughest to beat. This is coming from Captain America. So even Captain America considers Wolverine's strength to be superhuman, like him or at least or a little bit above. But these freaking claws is what is a game changer. One can say is a hack that ignores durability. Even if he doesn't have the muscle, he can harm top tiers with these. Like I already mentioned earlier. Like, how there's a lot of Heralds of Galactus, Terrax being one of them, right? A being with his axe has enough slicing power. In this particular situation, slices an entire planet. It's that simple, right? This same axe that was able to cleave an entire planet, like Terrax literally has the advantage over him in pretty much every statistic. But these freaking claws are able to cut through this freaking axe. So if he can cut through this type of weapon like this, what hope do human beings have when it comes to competing against these claws, especially if they can harm Gamma family enhanced beings and cutting through humans like butter? He can cut through tanks themselves. All kinds of metal he can cut through. Guns, metal, rocks, trees, concrete, you name it. Deadpool swords he can slice through. Beings like the Great Gargoyle he can cut through. I mean, there's plenty of different Hulks who's similar to the main Hulk. Wolverine's claws can cut beings this durable all the way through his flesh. Thor-centric type characters he can cut and harm them. But yeah, I don't want to rely on adamantium too much. Even without adamantium, for example, if we're just strictly talking about his bone claws, I mean, his claws in general is something he was born with. His adamantium he wasn't born with. That's like an enhancement. But without no adamantium, miraculously, his bone claws can still cut through certain swords or metal bars and steel and stuff. And even though they're not as easy to cut through as when he has metal, he still can slice through humans still. It's even noted that this is a disadvantage, but he can still put in work with bone claws. These bone claws are easy to get broken too, like in this case with Craven. But yeah, so they're still strong enough to slice through steel with just bone. But yeah, what he's known for is these adamantium claws, of course. So I'm gonna talk about those again. Of course, if he can stab the Hulk, of course his claws can stab dinosaurs. That only makes sense. It doesn't seem to matter how thick the trees are. It don't really matter because they're gonna get sliced. I mean, the guy's confirmed to be a one-man army even when it's hordes of beings. This joke reminds me of a video game, like how you are the boss battle. And like it has to be a whole bunch of means to try to take you on and none of them can. This many Hulkling beings, yeah. Old Man Logan has the might and, you know, of course with his claws and fighting speed, fighting skills and battle IQ put together, fights like a mob of them. And despite all of them probably having a physical strength advantage, it doesn't really matter. He has the fighting speed, claws, battle IQ to still give them work. And plus his healing factor kind of helps some people to endure some hits from him, of course. All this stuff put together, he puts all of them on lock. I look at the size of these beings and he's putting all of them on hold. We see him team busting all these Hulklings here, stabbing them like this. It's gets crazier when the actual Hulk of this universe comes out and eats him. He regenerates inside of him and it rips out of him. Look at the size of this Hulk. You see this occasion him versus Maestro. His claws have the cutting power to cut him and hurt him. So not only can he damage Hulk bootleg versions of Hulk, but the actual Hulk Maestro himself. Thanks to these freaking busted claws. You see these cuts doing damage here. Bro, they be going to edit. Like in this occasion when he was pumped up with a drug to help his healing factor and adrenaline and physicals possibly get boosted so his healing factor can keep up to hang against a Hulk tier being. Of course, along with his claws. I just want y'all to know that, yeah, this guy is bulletproof, by the way. No matter which version of Hulk, he's bullets. Yeah, he's bulletproof. But when Wolverine took this drug, kicking his healing factor into overdrive, it stated he feels like the old him again. And that's when the real battle starts, when his claws and everything put together, he comes up and pulls up on him. Body being durable enough to withstand claps from the Hulk. And apparently even kills Maestro. Like, this is crazy. I guess this Hulk doesn't have a healing factor like Immortal Hulk and stuff. Let me stop. Because Immortal Hulk definitely can survive decapitation. But yeah, Wolverine beat this version of Hulk in this universe. I mean, he fought his universe's version of Sabretooth and took care of him. I would like to add, Old Man Logan's even gotten an encounter with the Avengers. And can even cut into Iron Man's armor, can withstand a punch from She-Hulk. You know, the standard shenanigans of him being able to withstand punches from Hulk tiers. Ghost Rider even pulls up, starts slicing up his vehicle. This BS was all because of Mysterio. It's only natural, since he's a Wolverine-type character, that he would get in entanglements with other Wolverine-centric type beings, like the female Wolverine, like Laura, one could say X-23. He can keep up with her in raw strength, speed, blah, 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 agility. Because they're both Wolverine-centric or Wolverine-type characters. I mean, just imagine having a pair of overpowered claws that allows you to hang with beings way out of your strength league. Beings that can survive solar systems smashing on their face and stuff. That's basically Wolverine's character in a nutshell, old or young. This adamantium claws are just not fair at this point. But I hope you guys enjoy. You got to respect them regardless, right? But before I get going, I got to say thanks for the donations, everybody. Helps out a lot. Respect Old Man Logan, Wolverine. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.